I'm going to go over how to use this budget spreadsheet. And first I just want to mention that this is for Google Sheets. So if you try uploading it in Excel, it may not work properly. So I would recommend only using it in Google Sheets. And you do have to have a Google account for this, and you can create a free account by going to google.com. And then once you're there, click sign in right here. And then go down to where it says create account. I'll just select for personal use. Type in your name, click next, and then fill in the rest of the prompts until you have your Google account created. Okay, so I'm going to start by going through how to make this into a template so that you can easily duplicate it for each month. So we can start off by right-clicking down here where it says the budget dashboard or budget dashboard. Go up and click duplicate. And then I'm just going to change the name. I'm going to double click and change the name to budget template. And then what I can do here is just fill in the information that will be the same for every month. So for instance, if you have the same debt for every month, so say I have the same credit cards, so I could do credit card 1, credit card 2, and then I can put mortgage. You can fill in this information and when it's due, and then you can do the same thing for, say, if your income is the same every month. I can put day job, weekend job, and then anything else that'll be the same every month, you can pre-fill that out and then use that as your template so that every month when you go to start a new budget period, you can just right-click this, duplicate it, and then just change the month or the week or whatever you want the title to be right here. You can just change that. And you might notice in between each letter of the month, there's a space. And I did that on purpose just because I think it looks better that way. So when you're typing in the letters, just make sure that you add an extra space in between if you want it to look like this. You don't have to do that, but you can if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the budget template, and then we'll go over each section. So first, we'll start with the overview, and you can double click the box before 2 or the cell before 2, and then select the start date. Do the same for the end date. And then you can put your start amount in here. Say you have a starting balance of 1,000. You can put that in there. And then if you don't use the US dollar currency symbol, you can change this to any currency symbol that you do use. So if I were to delete this and then click out of that cell, you'll notice once I do that that these symbols right here will disappear. So I'll click out of the cell and just show you. And all those symbols disappeared, but I used US dollar, so I'm going to put that back in, and then you'll notice that it all populated throughout the spreadsheet. Okay, so the next section down here is the cash flow. And you'll notice right here that all of these cells are filled in with color, and that means that these cells are not meant to be changed. So just make sure that you don't fill any information out in these cells that are colored in. The same goes for the actual cells in expense summary, and the remaining cells, those are also colored in. So just make sure that you don't fill anything in those cells. Everything will be auto-calculated for you, so you just don't have to touch those cells at all. And in the cash flow, we have the start amount or the start balance, income, bills and expenses, debt, savings, and the remaining budget amount and actual amount. The next section is the income summary, and you can use your monthly paycheck if you want to budget that way. So monthly paycheck and any other incomes that you have, or you can do weekly paychecks. So if you wanted to do paycheck 1, paycheck 2, so on and so forth, you could budget that way or bi-weekly or however you want to do it. And then you just put in your budget, so what you're expecting to be paid, and then your actual. I'll just put the same for all of them, just for example purposes. And then you can see down here that the totals auto-calculated for you. So you don't have to do anything in the total boxes either. Everything will automatically calculate for you. Okay, so the next section is the bill summary. You can type in any bills that you have. So I'll just put utilities, internet, and then right here I can put the day of the month that they were due. So I'll just do 1, 2, and 3. And then once I have a bill paid, I can click this check mark just to show me that that was paid for that month or that week. And then over here is the expenses summary. So you have a category section, budget, actual, and remaining. Just remember, don't fill anything in for the actual and remaining. Those will fill in for you. And say I want a category for groceries. I can put groceries right here. I can put eating out and maybe clothing. And so when I go down here now to the expense tracker, this is where you can put all of your transactions in. And what we just filled in here for the categories under the expense summary, every category that you put in here, you'll be able to select from this down arrow here under the expense tracker in category. So I put groceries up here, and you can see that I was able to select it from the arrow down here in categories. I can put a note for what the groceries are for, say birthday party food. Say the amount was 200, and I'll enter in the date. And you can see that the amount for the groceries that I inputted down here for 200 auto-populated right here. And then it shows my remaining amount. Okay, next is the debt summary. So I already put credit card in there. And then I'll just mark that these two were completed. And then you can see that that auto-calculated down here for me. Similarly, I'll do that for the savings summary. I'll do the type. So say I'm saving for a car and saving for, I'll just say a jet ski. So if I want a budget to save 200 that month for a car and budget to save 100 for the jet ski, but I actually saved 300 and I also saved 100 for the jet ski, it shows how much I budgeted and then how much I actually saved right there. And then down here is the expense summary. So you'll see right now I only inputted groceries for the expense. So it's showing that I spent all 100% on groceries for the expenses. Now if I add in more expenses, say I put eating out, dinner with family, and I spent, say, 30, you can see that that now includes the eating out section. So here's a slice for eating out, and it shows the percentage as well. The percentage for groceries. So if you want to see the percentages, just click on the chart and then kind of move the mouse over the pie slice that you want to see the percentage for. I'm going to add one more just so you can see what it looks like with more slices. I'll just say clothing, 20, and you'll see that it added clothing right here. And then this chart right here shows how much money I have left to spend right here, and then how much I've spent so far, and then it shows the number that you have left to spend right here. And then here's an income summary. It just shows, you know, here's paycheck 1, and then paycheck 2, and what percentage it makes up of all the income that I have. And then right here's the actuals breakdown. Shows the income actuals, bills and expenses, debt, and savings. And then the cash flow summary is just a summary of the cash flow area. And then when I'm all done with the budgeting period, like I said earlier, you can duplicate the blank template that you just filled in this information for, the information that will be the same each month. Duplicate it, change the title, and fill it in for the new period. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to help.